So, hello everyone, I'm George and I am from Auckland and I've started a Drupal agency at the end of last year. It is just me and change at the moment, but I have huge aspirations to make it a beacon of Drupal in the big smoke. So a bit about me before we get into it. I've been doing Drupal for about 9 years. I started at the UK at an agency called Zucha, where I got my trial through fire experience. I'm sure we've all had one of those, where I learnt the code and learned to love the community. I came home to Auckland about 5 or 6 years ago, and in that time I've been working, travelling, and genuinely just growing up. Oh, and if you didn't notice, yes, I am very, very tall. I'm about 6'6" or 6'7", depending on the day. And yes, I play basketball, quite badly actually. But my true life ambition is to become the world's tallest Drupal developer. Yeah, I've done some informal research and I think I'm close. But if you know anyone, or if anyone turns up over these next couple days that beats me, please don't come get me. This is my whole identity. I need this. All right, enough about me. Today I want to talk about something that I think has greatly improved in Drupal over the last couple years, and that's page building, specifically framed using premium themes and how it's changed the economics of a Drupal build. And as you'll notice, I have my cue cards. This is a year 8 speech to me. Perfect. So let's frame this up. Just a prefix, I'm not traditionally a front-end developer, and page building has always been a bit of a beast to me. You have custom display modes, layout builder, paragraphs, the list goes on. I always found it such a long-winded process. But with the advent of single directory components and Canvas, things finally started to click. It made so much sense to have a wonderful page builder for a wonderful CMS. So excitedly, I jumped in and gave it a go. And it was great. You could add a new component, drag and drop, make a layout component. The world was my oyster. But everything came back to architecture, as it always does. I started looking around for a good base theme or starter kit and found there was nothing really that fit my purpose. The themes bundled with Drupal CMS were great, but they were too opinionated for what I needed, and the base themes seemed a bit sparse for my liking. In roles, premium Drupal themes. I know, gross, right? Well, that's what you've been led to believe. Traditionally, premium themes have been inflexible dumpster fires when it comes to do anything out of their tightly defined scope. 2026 premium themes are different. They are flexible, well-engineered, and extendable. I'm going to show you how these things have improved and how we can get to the fun parts of our build much, much quicker. This, along with the help of AI, we can build a diverse range of sites quickly and with best practices. So you must all be thinking, how much does it cost? Of course. First, let's look at what you're actually buying when you buy a premium theme in 2026. For reference, I'm going to be using the company Drupal for this talk. They're a great company out of the UK led by Andy and Mike. They're stalwarts of the Drupal community and have been contributing in and around it for almost 2 decades, so you know you can trust them. Now, one of their themes starts from 600 USD, which is about 1,000 New Zealand dollars. This does sound a lot, especially when you nail it back to being almost 200 coffees, or the global standard, 100 Big Macs. But let's talk numbers real quick. If you charge a conservative 150 an hour, 1,000 New Zealand dollars is less than a day's work on any new Drupal site. And I hope I can convince you you'll save at least a day's work. So Drupal offers a couple of themes: Neonbyte, Great Lakes, and Meridian. Today I'll be focusing on Neonbyte, as it's a theme I've been using most recently and is the one I'm most comfortable with. The other themes are good, and most of what I'm going to say applies to the whole category, and not just this one. So a few things to know about this family of themes before we dig in. There is no CSS frameworks, so there's no Tailwind, there's no Bootstrap. It's pure CSS. And they're supported for the newer version of the Drupal, so they're designed and built for Drupal 11 plus. They do backport to Drupal 10, but you might find yourself fighting a little bit here. And they support multilingual out of the box. So you go and add another language and you won't have to rewrite your theme. So let's take a look at the file structure we get. Take a look at our screenshot here. There's templates, components, CSS, some pre-processing, and the JavaScript's actually in their own base theme. So it might sound like a small thing as it looks quite simplistic. But for anyone's tried to debug compiled Sass or JavaScript on a Friday night before a long weekend, we know this is not a small thing. What you get instead is plain folders. Component folders you can understand, handwritten CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. You can open any file, read it, and edit it. It's all just simple. It's code you can understand without using any real mental horsepower. And this matters now more than ever with the ever-building complexity of front-end packages and frameworks in 2026. So this is a snapshot of the component library you get in Canvas on install. Every one is a single directory component or block, styled to match your theme, and it's ready to drop straight into Canvas. There's 5 different hero variants, feature grids, card layouts. The list goes on. There's 50 components in total. There's light modes, dark modes, some color variation, and all the components react natively to this in itself. That is one of my favorite parts. When you change the background section color, all the inner components also react to change to light or dark modes. On a bespoke build, building this library yourself, designing the components, coding them, styling them, testing them across breakpoints, there's a whole set of work for a senior front-ender. With a quality premium theme, you're inheriting it from day one, and from people you know do a great job. One other thing to note, all of their themes are accessibility compliant, so you don't have to worry about this. And you get 2 months of support up front, so you know you can deal with any growing pains that may come your way. One of the main things that premium themes have traditionally gone wrong is flexibility. You'd install the theme and it would look great out of the box on its one use case. But at the moment you tried to bend it at all, you'd be in a specificity war. You'd be writing overrides, there'd be custom JavaScript. You'd be breaking the original theme. This would make a mess of the theme in general, and there was no quality control. NeonByte and the other good premium themes of this category solve this with 2 things. 1, they have a variant system on every component. So you pick a prop and you get a different shaped component. I've seen this in site templates actually, and a great example of this is you have a different section with a different amount of columns. You can pick how many columns you have and you'll get that. 2, the design system is exposed as custom CSS properties, custom CSS variables. There's brand color, spacing, typography, all set as a token variable that you can extend and change in your subtheme. So what you're looking at is a hero with a drop-down header. There are settings in your appearance form for the color, border radius, spacing, header transparency, all included. There's no fighting and it just makes sense. So flexibility here that it means that it's truly designed to be bent and extended. All right, let's come up for air for a moment. It's all great to talk technical, but let's talk about what this does on a real project. Building out the component library and theme architecture for a typical small to medium-sized Drupal build, custom theme, bespoke components, all the rest from scratch, was roughly 2 weeks of front-end work and some. Maybe half of this was good AI usage, but that's dependent. This would swallow a large chunk of the budget up front. With NeonByte and any other comparable theme, the usual structure and scaffolding is already done for you on day one. So your job is the fun part. Create custom components that really bring your site to life. The theme layer has always been a bottomless pit of tweaks and changes. And if we can get a sturdy base to start from, it will save us a lot of headaches and time in the long run. So you made me thinking, do I really have to pay for this? Why not use a base theme or any of the other starter kits? There's a plethora of them out there, and you might be right. But once you dig in to a base theme and you'll find you have to replicate all this functionality, and with the starter kit themes that you have out there, you will see that a premium theme gives you the best point to start. And the second half of the story, of course, is Drupal Canvas. I'm sure we all know and love it now, but like I described earlier, Drupal Canvas is a new page building tool that shipped recently with Drupal CMS. It's a visual drag and drop editor. It's still somewhat in its infancy in many regards, but is incredibly powerful for certain use cases. Here we have Canvas running with NeonByte active. You can see the component palette and page being assembled live. Canvas provides a way to drop these components straight into pages, and together with this page builder, Drupal produces high quality flexible content. So your marketer can go in and build pages in this. Your site builder can build pages in this. You still get called in for the complex stuff, but the build me a new landing page work moves off your plate. So one of my favorite things in Canvas, and with premium themes, is patterns. The ability to create a custom combination of components. Traditionally, building out the page for these small to medium-sized sites was a pain. Now with patterns, with the ability to create and export them as config and neon byte presets, we can rip them up in next to no time. And all this before we even touch AI. Because this is a conference in 2026, and I'm sure I'd get a lot of complaints, we'll talk about AI briefly now. So I actually want to speed run what we can do with AI and page building, because I'm sure you'll hear a lot about it over the next day and a half. If there's only two modules worth knowing about with Canvas and AI, it's Canvas AI and Context Control Center. Context Control Center and these two have heavily featured in Dre's notes recently, so you might all be aware of how they operate. But Canvas AI adds a prompt layer to Canvas. The create me a stunning landing page promoting the New Zealand Ginger Alliance. And before you search it, no, it's not a thing. It picks components from the theme library, drops them in, and populates first draft content. That 2-hour page build, that turns into 10 minutes, plus the rest with tweaking and tuning. The module I'd actually install first is Context Control Center. It gives your site awareness of its own structure and whatever else you want to feed it. Content types, entities, taxonomy term, whatever else you need. So when you ask it to generate something, it will follow your own site, not just some generic website. Both of these stack on top of Canvas, plus your premium theme, making them a far more streamlined experience. So how many times have you sat looking at a page, thinking, what info do I include? Well, I know I have. Canvas AI crosses this valley for you. You can type something like, build me my landing page to show off that I'm the world's tallest developer. And you sit back and watch the magic. Cost savings alone here should entice you. For the time it takes to set up these pages, you can set it up as a background task and continue about your day. You still have to come back to tweak and tune, but the bulk of it gets out front. Now this isn't a silver bullet, as I'm sure we all know. And I'm sure we've all had our own experiences with AI hallucinating and making up nonsense. And Canvas AI is no exception. But this leads us to our next module. So excuse that big warning message. So yeah, Canvas Control Center. Canvas Control Center is a brilliant Drupal module. It lets you create system prompts and guidelines and allocate them to tools around your site. In this instance, we give the Canvas page building agent context with our component infrastructure and information on what to use where. We can even include brand information, or to get really adventurous, context of different platforms. We link all this up in config. Drupal's plugin architecture lends itself to have this easily configurable. You can extend it as much as you see fit. Personally, I've played around with it mostly internally, but I've seen some instances where they connect to external plugins. So look at our overview here. We add a context item and assign it a prompt. In this case, it is a markdown for all our components. So your page builder knows in what format your components need to be and where they sit inside. So all this brings us to what we actually gain. You are kind of unleashed from page building in a sense. A site builder or webmaster doesn't need to labor setting up the precise look and feel of your site. They can write a thorough prompt and let the AI do its work. Your mental load can be preserved for more intensive matters. The price of building new pages has collapsed. With the baseline of excellent SDCs, Canvas, context, and your premium theme, you can create incredibly cheaply and high standard pages. Even reasonably bespoke pages. Another popular page builder, in React in fact, called Puck, has its own AI builder module, and that costs about 30 cents per page. Drupal Canvas AI, with proper config and using the proper models, you can get your costs down to as little as 2 cents per page. Throughout all of this, we still need human in the loop, of course. I like to think about it as a standard 80-20 rule, where 80% of the work is done up front and the 20% is done so that you know everything is up to proper standards. I have found that I can get pretty good with correct context building, but it is a game of trial and error. This is a great step forward in web and comms management, especially for small teams. It gives a lot of power to a user and can really accelerate the production of new themes and ideas. Having a sound premium theme to start with also heavily reduces the initial investment and headaches. This doesn't replace knowledge of themers or your brand identity, of course. You'll still need to extend and overwrite certain parts of your theme, and you'll still need your marketer to understand your message and make sure you're on the right track. So as we go forward, this was a very high-level overview of premium themes in 2026 and AI, and there was a lot of content touched on. But if you're taking two things away from this, I want it to be the following. 1, premium themes are really, really good now. They're flexible, scalable, and well-engineered. And 2, AI doesn't have to just be novelty. It can work in your site in truly efficient ways. It can help with infrastructure assistance and page building speed, not just text and image generation. So play with this. Have a look at how other themes work and link up your AI and give it some context. Drupal now more than ever is a joy to work with, and I don't think we're anywhere near the edge of what we can do. I might have gone a bit fast, but thanks everyone for joining my session. That's my almost 20 minutes. And yeah, come up and say hello. I'd love to meet everyone, and I'll be around for the next couple of days. Thank you all.
Thanks, George. We've actually got 3 or 4 minutes if anyone has a question or two.
Yep, I need a mic. I was wondering about Context Control Center. Have you had any actual clients use it? Like, is that something that they're familiar with, or do you kind of set things up for them so that they can use it?
No, at the moment I've got one client I'm working with that I've set up the infrastructure for them. So it's kind of, you take it off their plate so they don't have to think about what goes where. And it does become a matter of they just end up tweaking the page rather than having to think of the prompts they have to put in. Yeah.
Yeah, great talk. Thanks, George. I just realised I'm completely ignorant on something that I should definitely know. We should all know. Someone's paying for that AI call on Canvas AI. Sorry, the previous slide.
Oh, yes.
So that AI, where's it coming from, and who's paying for it?
So that could be your own model you put in. So it's all plug-in. You set up your own models that you plug in. Get your Anthropic or OpenAI key. It's all config in Drupal. It's lovely like that. And then you can, like I said, you can nail down the context or the scope depending on what you want. So you have cheap models like, say, with Sonnet or Haiku. You can get really cheap models, and depending on how good your prompt is and I guess how much it gets passed in, you can really nail down the price. But you can use Opus, and those have been really good, but they do take longer. So when
you use your own sort of like open source AI.
Yeah, you can use whatever you want. Yeah, I think Drupal supports about 30 different providers at the moment, 30 to 40. I'm not too sure about the really bespoke ones.
Yeah.
Great talk. Thank you for that. My question is, so your proposition is to use a premium theme that's very highly structured, very well structured by humans, and then hooking an AI up to it and letting it kind of build on top of it. I was curious if you have something like some experience with the kind of quality code that AI then produces on top of that human theme, and, the end structure. If it kind of gets away from it, or if you see it comes kind of close to the original API.
So I try and use the AI to build the pages. In terms of the actual code itself, I would be tentative to let AI unleashed on that. So you still have to extend the theme properly, do it proper standards, all the rest. If you were doing AI, you'd put it through your usual gates. But this is mainly for building out pages and the content. So it's all content that's been generated in place.
Yeah, that's a great approach.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously relatively new technology, and I love all the benefits for the fast start and the setup and stuff. Are there downstream benefits for like ongoing maintenance and support? Have you had experience with clients who want to come back and then like extend or change the site using a pretty new thing? Because in the past we've had pre-baked things, right? It's like it's cool, and then you hit a wall where it starts becoming more difficult to kind of maintain or extend over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Does that setup with the premium theme change that equation?
So with the premium themes with DrupYard, I mean, like all premium themes, you get the whole thing and it's yours, right? So you can kind of cater it to what you want going forward. But the way they've written it and the way it's structured, I think it's really clean and really well extendable. So going forward maintenance, it's actually quite easy. There's no, like I said, there's no build packages, nothing like that you need to think about. There's no dependency upgrades. It's just like the CSS will work in 5 years as it does now. But I actually haven't had a long enough run because I'm bringing it in now in terms of 1 or 2 clients, and kind of I'll let you know in a year, Dave. Yes.
Could you speak on the licensing side of the equation? Drupal's open source. This is some sort of proprietary software rights to. So how does that work with customer ownership, your ownership, rights to control changes?
Yeah, of course. Yep. So in terms of ownership, it's the licenses you buy at one and you can use it for one site. I can't remember exactly. I think it was GPL2. I think something like that. But yeah, essentially you buy your theme and you can use it on one site. That's what you're licensed to. They do have pack deals and they do have multi-site things like that. So I think if you talk to them, they're pretty good. They have like Slack channel or the rest. So yeah, it's a one site use. That doesn't mean there won't be nefarious actors, I'm sure, which will take the code and do what else you want. But this is not the community we're in.